We talk about Rocket City so much and we talk about rockets, but I think it's important to realize that rockets were built on something, and King Cotton isn't an ironic name. It was truly what the South was all about. And from 1805, when Huntsville was founded, up until the Civil War in 1860, Huntsville, Madison County was primarily dedicated to the growth of cotton, to the development of cotton culture. For the most part, it was small farmers trying to make a living, and cotton was the easiest way of doing that. The only negative up until the Civil War is that there really wasn't industry associated with the cotton. So we would grow cotton in Madison County and then ship it somewhere else, and the real profit was when you manufactured it and when you made something like shirts, dresses, shoes, whatever you were going to make. The Civil War scrambled everything. It became very, very popular to invest northern money into southern towns. The closer you could put a Lowe mill, a Dallas mill, a Merrimack, it doesn't matter what mill you're talking about, the closer you can put it to the cotton field, the less you have to spend on big bales of cotton. And so for Huntsville, you're really looking at a boom in the 1880s. You begin to see more and more investment in industry. 1890s, early 20th century is when you really begin to see what we would consider to be the cotton mill explosion. It was a transformative experience, because Huntsville up to this point was just like every other southern town. It was growing the way, a river here, a stream there, a good field over here. And suddenly now you have a mill stuck right in the middle as you're looking at a cash infusion and a place to grow the mill village around. And so you would grow the mill village, you'd grow the school, you'd probably have a baseball team, you'd have a movie theater, you'd have things to do, and each of these mill villages became a part of Huntsville, but also were semi-autonomous in some ways, because in reality, the people who owned the mills controlled most of what you did during the day. And a lot of times what you would see is the further control of the workers through credit. Is that you would buy your groceries on credit from the company store, you'd buy clothes on credit, and so they were able to manipulate that credit system. And so it was a perpetual cycle to keep you enslaved to some degree. That's a strong word, but in reality, it kept you enslaved to the machines of these mills, because they needed that labor. They needed the small hands of kids. They needed the women, they needed the men to work. And on top of that, you could also add the fact that racially, it was a kind of a different experience. This is one of the few areas where you can see black and white working side by side, not necessarily along the line, but you would see African Americans working outside of the factory. You would see them in service jobs, while most of the white labor was inside. So Huntsville would promote that we have all these mills. So on the kind of the macro, you're proud of your industry, you're proud of your work, you're proud of what you produce. Yet, if you look at the city of Huntsville and how it dealt with the lint heads, the people who actually worked at the mills, it was definitely go back to work. And so like the general strike of 1934 had a profoundly bad effect on the longevity of most of our mills here in town. And so the mills closed or began to close at exactly the wrong time for historic preservation, and that is urban renewal, which is like a four-letter word for most preservationists. I think what you're seeing now, especially here in West Side, you're seeing a revitalization based on something that I find fascinating. That is, you're taking the best parts of our past and you're infusing our present to create a better future.